Hello everyone and good morning. My name is Carl Vincent Katimbang of CPET 3202. So for today's topic, I will be discussing the Deming Management Philosophy by W. Edwards Deming. But before that, let me discuss the agenda for today's topic. So first, we have the Deming Management Philosophy. Second is the 14 point for management. Third is the seven deadly diseases of management. And fourth is the PDSA. So let's now proceed to the discussion of the Deming Management Philosophy. So what is the Deming Management Philosophy? So it is also known as Dr. Deming's theory of management and later his system of profound knowledge. It represents a holistic approach to leadership and management which brings together the philosophy of understanding of variations, theory of knowledge, psychology, and appreciation for system. So it promotes transformation through an essential lens which will benefit anyone and any organization. So according to Dr. Deming's philosophy, it is a way for people and the organization to continually improve and help people bring quality, joy, and success to their work and to their lives. So the leading proponent of Dr. Manning includes the 14 point for management, the 7 deadly diseases in management, and PDSA. So we will be discussing this leading proponent of Dr. Deming one by one. So based on the leading proponents of Dr. Deming, let's first discuss the 14 points for management. So Dr. W. Edwards Deming offered 14 key principles for management to follow to significantly improve the effectiveness of business or organizations. The 14-point management revolves around psychological, programmatic, and transformative in nature. So, so in which psychological means it relates or devoted to fundamentals of nature of knowledge, reality, and existence, while the programmatic is the nature of or according to a program, schedule, or method. Last is the transformative, which means a lesson or experience that inspires change or causes a shift in view of point because of experience. So Dr. Deming also noted that the 14th point for management follows naturally as application of the system of profound knowledge for transformation from the style of management to one of optimization. So let's now discuss the 14 points for management one by one. So the first one in the 14 point for management is to create constancy of purpose. So to create constancy of purpose, it is to prioritize continuous improvement over a long term. So improvement shouldn't be ad hoc. So like for example, the organization should commit to a team development or create a vision of the future. Also, to ask for process and product quality improvements each week. So the second one is to adopt the new philosophy. So to adopt the new philosophy, the organization should strive for the perfect quality. They must no longer tolerate commonly accepted levels of mistakes and put their customers' needs first. Like for example, is a 4-hour delivery window putting your customers' needs first? Or in a restaurant, is it acceptable to order a meal only to be later told that it is out of stock? So next is to stop depending on inspections. So build quality into your processes instead. So inspections happen too late. Like for example, the next time you encounter a problem, error-proof the process. The fourth is to focus on total cost, not the price tag. So most companies focus on price tag alone. They also have multiple suppliers for one item. So a poor long-term strategy use a single supplier for one item. This will eliminate the hidden cost. Like for example, you purchase an identical part from 6 suppliers. Hidden benefits of moving to a single supplier is that smaller supplier base to manage, no quality of variations, and there is no small inventory. So the fifth one is to improve constantly and forever. So the PDCA cycle can help organizations continuously improve. So for example, Firefighting and reacting to problem is not continuous improvement. So you decide to invest in PDCA and in turn improve how you select suppliers, the process for hiring staff, and to improve training for new team members. So next is to institute on-the-job training. So without adequate training, you are wasting the abilities of your employees. Like for example, imagine you run a startup. Right now, you expect new hires to be up and running immediately. Wouldn't it be better if you established a clear job responsibilities, a defined what good quality works looks like, and had onboarding training? So in number seven is to institute leadership. It is controversial because most managers set targets. This is management, not a leadership. So to have leaders, they must know the work, remove the barriers, and to work on sources of improvement. Like for example, you create a feedback for the staff and act quickly on their suggestions. That is the Institute of Leadership. There is a leadership. So next is to drive out fear. So a culture of fear is not conductive to a great work. Creating a fearless and blameless culture increases product quality and employee retention. Like for example, you've just inherited a team with a culture of fear. You decide to encourage people to raise bad news or to emphasize problems are caused not by team members but a bad processes. So in number nine is to break down barriers. So breaking down barriers between departments has this achievement, which is to create internal customers, build a shared vision, and to use cross-functional teams. So, for example, as a CAO wanting to improve communication and cooperation between departments, they must create a cross-functional task force and to establish internal customers. So in number 10 of Deming's 14 point of management or for management is to eliminate unclear slogans. So for example, take pride in what you do or always go the extra mile. Get rid of these types of slogans. They can lead to a resentment and frustration in employees. Like for example, you remove all slogans and instead decide to show employees what you are doing for them each month. So moving to a single supplier or buying new equipment or even providing better training. So in number 11 is to eliminate management by objective. So replace management by objective with leadership. Improvement should come by not focusing on the result but instead on the details. So for example, you replace targets with training to improve the capability of your people. Or you then measure the capability of your people, not their output. So in number 12 is to remove barriers to work pride. So in order to remove these barriers, remove the barriers that stop your team from taking pride in their work. Build into your processes the ability for workers to improve the quality of the processes they use. Like for example, you lead a team with low morale. You allow them to stop production when they encounter a problem. You encourage employees to raise concerns. So in number 13 is to implement education and self-improvement. So in building your team skills, it will increase retention, it improve processes, and it will make them more adaptable in the future. So like for example, if you take over a team where training has previously been ad hoc, you create a system to ensure ongoing training, to track and review, and to create personal development plans. So the last one in the 14 point for management is to make transformation everyone's job. It is everyone's job to work together to transform not just managers. It is only over hundreds or thousands of tiny improvements can you transform the whole organization. But in order to make transformation for everyone's job, you just have to use the PDCA or the continuous improvement cycle. So next in line in Dr. Deming's leading proponent is the 7 deadly diseases of management. So while the 14 points for management can be said to express Dr. Deming's philosophy of transformational management, his 7 deadly diseases of management describe the most serious barriers that management faces to improving effectiveness and continual improvement. So Dr. Deming discusses in detail the first 5 deadly diseases. He did not include deadly diseases 6 and 7, in which he said in out of the crisis were peculiar in the industry. So Dr. Deming explores in great detail the diseases listed below. So first is the lack of constancy of purpose. to plan product and service that will have a market and keep the company in business and provide jobs. So second is the emphasis on short-term profits. So short-term profits, just the opposite from the constancy of purpose to stay in business, fed by fear of unfriendly takeover and by push from bankers and owners for dividends. So third in the diseases is the evaluation of performance, merit rating or annual reviews. So fourth is the mobility of management or job hopping. So fourth or fifth is the management by use only of visible figures. So with little or no consideration of figures that are unknown or unknowable. So six is the excessive medical cost. As reported by Dr. Deming in Out of the Crisis, pages 97 to 98, executives share with him that the cost of medical care for their employees was amongst their largest overall expenses. Not to mention the cost of medical care embedded in the purchase price of what they purchase from their suppliers. And the last one is the excessive cost of liability, swelled by lawyers that work on contingency fees. So the last agenda is the PDSA cycle. So the PDSA cycle or the Plan, Do, Study Act is a systematic process for gaining valuable learning and knowledge for the continual improvement of product, process, or service. Also known as the Deming Wheel or Deming Cycle, this integrated learning improvement model was first introduced to Dr. Deming by his mentor Walter Schubert of the famous Bell Laboratories in New York. So the PDSA cycle begins with the plan step. This involves identifying a goal or purpose, formulating a theory, defining success, metrics, and putting a plan into action. These activities are followed by the do step, in which the components of the plan are implemented such as making a product. Next comes study step, where outcomes are monitored to test the validity of the plan for signs of progress and success, or problems and areas for improvement. So, the act step closes the cycle. It integrates the learning generated by the entire process, which can be used to adjust the goal, change methods, reformulate a theory altogether, or broaden the learning improvement cycle from the small-scale experiment to a larger implementation plan. These four steps can be repeated over and over as part of a never-ending cycle to continual learning and improvement. So PDSA, not PDCA. Dr. Deming emphasized that PDSA cycle is not the PDCA cycle, with a third step emphasis on study, not check. So Dr. Deming found that the focus on check is more about the implementation of a change, with success or failure. So his focus was on predicting the result of an improvement effort, studying the actual results and comparing them to possibly revise the theory. So he stressed that the need to develop new knowledge from learning is always guided by a theory. So by comparison, the check phase of the PDCA cycle focuses on success or failure of a plan, followed by needed corrections to the plan in the event of failure. So to find an excellent So again, my name is Carl Vincent Katimbang of CPA 3202 and this is the end of my report tackling the Deming management philosophy.